Hello everyone, it's Jay here from the Training Court Podcast, a Pokemon TCG podcast bringing you anything and everything Pokemon TCG related. If you are looking for Pokemon TCG competitive decks ready to go, including GLC decks, please head over to Pokedex4u.com. Pokedex4u has a variety of decks ready for sale, with each deck being fully customizable and bespoke to your needs. Use the code Training Court TCG for 5% off your first order. Now let's get on to the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Training Court TCG podcast, the podcast relating to anything and everything Pokemon TCG. It's Jay here. Another week, there's more news to talk about, and I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts, Andy, Kath, and Al. Hey guys, you right?
Yeah.
Hello.
Right, another week of competitive play. We've had obviously the regional in Charlotte, where we're going to talk about some results. But before we do that, we're just going to talk about anything we've played this week. So anyone, I'm not going to go to a direct person, I'm just going to let everyone shout out this week. So has anyone played anything competitive Pokemon wise?
Nope.
I have. I've actually been trying to get in some time with my Mewtwo reunion before half of the deck gets rotated on Friday. My Gengar deck. I say this every week. I wish I would have played in Liverpool, but yeah, it's a really good. It's a really good deck, and it only loses to a very select couple of cards. Blissey,
Drapion being one of it.
Drapion, and Blissey basically is what it loses to. Other than that,
One shot you basically.
yeah, and I don't really come up against many Drapion and Blissey. I actually beat a Dark deck the other day, and he started with a Drapion, and then he had a Samurott, and so Galarian Zigzagoon, and I just kept Flannery and fan of Waves. Every time he put hiding energy down on his Drapion, I just knocked it back with my fan of Waves. So he was pretty annoyed, and I ended up winning. So I was very happy about that.
Cool. So yes, myself and Andy did play some competitive Pokemon in the past week, and we actually recorded it and we edited it and we released it for another video. So we'll put the link in the description. But we have another tabletop gameplay. It was interesting.
I mean,
was-
competitive is probably subjective.
Yeah.
As competitive as you can get with pre-release build and battle kits. Yeah. And also, I think obviously spoiler alert for the for the actual video. The polls were horrendous, especially after discussing on the podcast the night before how good they were. I think we opened the 4 packs each from inside the kits, and then we each had 3 prize packs. So we had 7 packs, 14 packs in total. We got 1 EX. So that was it was awful actually, but it was still fun to play. It was obviously we don't play that kind of deck on a regular basis, kind of a single prize four prize 40 card deck. So it was good to play. It was enjoyable from my side. Anyway, I'm not sure Andy had such a great time, but overall a really good experience. And definitely check it out. Let us know what you think, and let us know what kind of more tabletop gameplays you want us to do, because we've got plenty more to do in the future. So, as discussed in the intro, we have obviously another regional has come and passed. Another regional, some surprising decks, an interesting deck for a winner. We've obviously had controversy, we've had disqualifications, and controversy plenty. So let's dig into it straight away. So the regionals in Charlotte the past week was 1,100 players, basically, just 30 short of 1,200 players, which is huge, obviously. And I think we were talking about it just before the podcast. There was not a single Lugia deck in the top 4, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Are people getting sick of Lugia already?
Have you
It's only
seen
been out 6 months.
what's the percentage of players Lugia? Is it dropped or is it still 40%?
No, it's still high.
No, it was still like 30% at Charlotte.
Mm.
They just didn't make the cut.
Yeah, no, it was still pretty high, but they just didn't make the cut. And again, that probably brings to the next question: is that because all these decks are there teching for Lugia more than anything? I think most decks now tech for Lugia more than any other deck.
Yeah,
Apart from Drapion in every single deck from you. But apart from that,
You know what? I think actually, I've just thought that it might be that because Lugia is so prevalent, people have got more experience playing against it and so know how to beat it. Whereas, like, not many people actually play against Wheezing Eternatus, because it's just not as prevalent. And
Yeah.
I've only played against it once, like in real life. And
Mm.
so yeah, I think maybe that's probably why people have just figured out what it does and how to counter it. Maybe.
well, as Alex alluded to there, the actual winning deck was an Eternatus Wheezing deck. It was won by
Aye,
Aiden
aye.
Koos. It was won by Aiden Koos, who has done quite well recently. If you have a look at his statistics, he's consistently finishing the top 100 of every regional he attends. He's even getting top 30, top 50 in a lot of cases as well. But this is the first one he's actually won. So obviously,
Do you want me to share my
congratulations
screen?
to him. Yep, if you want to share the deck. To me, it looks like a relatively standard deck. Eternatus deck, yeah. You've got the Eternatus, you've got the coughing, the wheezing, you've got the 4 Crobats, you've got your Zigzagoon, obviously for tick damage. You've got the Hisuian Sneasler, which obviously amplifies the poison element of Galarian Wheezing's ability a bit more, and then obviously Drapion for the matchup. But yeah, overall, it's a really good standard set list. Obviously, Big Parasol set aside for the Yveltals and the Giratinas, the Temple of Sinnohs, specifically for. To be fair, for Regis, it came in clutch for the Regis in the final, which is again, sorry, a spoiler. It was Charlie Kerr who came second with the Reggie Gigas deck, the Reggie deck. So again, Temple of Sinnoh for Lugia and for the Reggie deck. But overall, it was yeah. I mean, did you guys watch it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I watched it.
and it was nice to watch a match where me and Andy were rooting for the opposite people.
Oh yeah,
And
Because
those are your decks, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, because usually it's just like whatever's playing Lugia, I want you to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
But this time it was like Derby
Who do
Day.
you want?
Yeah.
Just as an offset, who do you want to win if it's Lugia versus Lost Box? Who do you want to win?
Turn it off.
Both
good answer. That's the right answer, Kat. That's the right answer there.
Both.
I mean, yeah, it was a good match. I thought it was. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think Aiden was gonna win it. I didn't think he was gonna win it, to be honest.
Not after that first match.
No, the first match was horrendous for him. The second match as well. Did you see? I mean, obviously, if you've watched it, you will have seen it. But he was digging for energy. He had no energy whatsoever. He ended up digging and digging and digging and digging, and he ended up having to use the Forest Seal Stone for 1 energy.
I mean,
he even exactly, yeah. I mean, imagine if he didn't have that, it would have gone completely different. But yeah, I mean, I think he went to the crowd and was like, Jesus. Obviously, it was quite funny. He's got a bit of a character as well, which is nice to see. But yeah, obviously, commiserations to Charlie. Charlie came obviously second with the Reggie deck. Again, looking at the list, it seems relatively straightforward. It's a bit different to Rahul's deck. He's no cape of toughness. I think he goes from. I mean, Andy's. You're obviously the Reggie pilot. Is there anything out there that really?
No, I mean, it looks pretty standard. He does play the other Reggie Drago.
No, the other Reggie Lackey.
No, he plays the two different types of Reggie Drago.
Oh,
the one that hits for 240.
Oh, right.
If it doesn't have any damage counters on it.
Didn't see it.
Is that
Sorry, a few times.
Is that from which set's that from? Sorry, I was keeping that up. Sorry.
Is
which one? Sorry.
The one of Reggie Drago from
it's a different
Evolving
one,
Skies.
Yeah.
So yeah. Look, that's interesting. That's
It's a good
really
addition, to be honest.
So how many Pokemon do they usually play? Because they've still got the 3 Regieleki. Did they used to play 3 Reggie Drago, just a normal one?
No, it used to be 2. It used to be 2 Reggie Drago. I've played it where I've played 3 Reggie Gigas, 3 Reggie Lecky, and then 2 of everything else.
Regieleki seems to be the more prominent choice for 3 of, isn't it? Because you've got obviously the Astral Radiance one, you've got the Evolving Skies one, as well.
Good and bad.
So exactly, yeah.
Call them.
But you've obviously got different abilities on both of them as well, so it works quite well on different attacks.
Yeah, it seemed like he was using the
sonar,
electromagnetic sonar one a lot more to get his trainers back. He was trying to, but then Aiden was just judging him to put it back in the deck. There's not much different to what I would play except the
Energy
Draco.
Lotto. Do you usually play Energy Lotto, or is that a staple?
No, it's not a staple. My first iteration of Reggie Bros had Energy Lotto in. But I don't play it. I don't play one of now. Escape Rope, I play Escape Rope.
What is the benefit of having Escape Rope versus a Switch?
If it's a
so
Switch,
it acts as like another boss's orders, maybe.
Or what are you trying to something that like an
imploder? Like wheezing, you want that on the active.
Yeah.
So you just use that and get them to promote something else.
The problem was obviously Aiden already.
If you've got two it's going, you're knackered basically. But
that's the reason.
It does a bit more than just the boss's orders sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the final obviously was it was a bit unlucky for Charlie. He plays 4 Path to the Peak and he prized 3 of them. So that was pretty rough. And obviously there was a bit of controversy and some judge rulings in these games. So but we'll talk about that after. But that does come into play. But we'll just finish off the top 8. So just finishing off the top 8. In third was Justin Bokhari. Justin Bokhari with a Lost Box. Lost Box with that one. Bit interesting. It's got Crobat V as well and an Aerodactyl.
Yeah.
So Aerodactyl V again, turn off abilities really. But for me, it's just a big 2 prizer in a single prize deck almost, if that makes sense.
It's got a Dragonite V as well. That's another 2. But I mean, that's turned into a staple.
Kind of staple now, yeah.
But you know what? A lot of Lost Boxes have been playing a couple of Vs. So he's played Lumineon, Drapion. I guess that's only from you though. Aerodactyl. The Aerodactyl. He's obviously
Dragonite and Crobat as well. He's playing Crobat V as well.
I mean, you can put it's a toolbox in it. You can put anything in really.
Exactly.
Yeah, true, yeah.
It's how it obviously did him well. But yeah, he came third.
Cramorant.
Yeah, he seemed like he wasn't really leaning with that as an attacker, to be honest. More of the looks like he obviously got 2 Sableye in there as well. So seems like he was leaning in that direction. Coming up in 4th place with a Vikavolt item lock deck was Noah Peltier.
Oh no, that's a no. That's a no. You Vikavolt.
No. Again, that's relatively standard with the Pogo Zapdos and the Pump Caboose Pump Stadiums and just the Vikavolts to really kind of item lock people. And then you've got the Raikou Vs then to hit the bench again. That's hit hard, obviously, especially against Lost Box where you've got the bench quite full up, etc. So yeah, no, go. That was a good deck. Then you've got Rowan Staven now. Mew, and then we've got 2 Lugias for Julia Santos de Leon and Maito Battaglia, and then to finish it all off, we've got Jose Marzan with another Eternatus Wheezing deck. So not just it was how bizarre.
Eternatus Wheezing sandwich.
In the top 8, we got 25% of the decks were Lugia, 25% were Galarian Wheezing Eternatus decks. So they're taking over just before format rotates.
Yeah.
What a shame. But yeah, obviously I watched both days. And I know some of you guys did as well. There was a bit of controversy and 2 elements of the two elements that we're going to discuss now all revolved around Charlie Kerr in matches. Sorry, I'm not going to say it's about him. It happened in matches that he was in. So in the top 4 match, he played Noah Peltier. and he ended up I think it was his first time on stream, and he ended up getting a prize penalty. I believe it was Andy. Sorry, what was it? Andy, sorry.
He drew an extra card when he shouldn't have. I think he drew for turn, but then I think Aiden was shuffling his deck and then he put it back down.
I think he used a Reggie. He used a not Reggie. Sorry,
it was
Raining
Charlie.
Ninja.
He drew an extra card anyway when he shouldn't have.
And he scooped anyway and lost the game. But there was a lot of talk, wasn't there? The judges, they got head judges out. I felt sorry for the commentators and the casters because they were trying to fill the time. They didn't know what was going on. I think it was Boo. I think it was Frosted Caribou, and I can't remember the other guy with a. But
Primetime Wizard.
Oh, that's it. Yes. That's it. But I felt for them because they were trying to fill the time, and this was a long check. Like the judges were discussing it amongst themselves, and they had to go get head judges, and it took, I'd say, easily a good 10-15 minutes. Really, so fair play to them because they were thinking on their feet and how to get through it. But yeah, it resulted in a prize penalty. But given that the fact that he'd already scooped and lost that game, I find it a bit unfair that it was a 2 prize penalty for the next game.
I don't think they should carry prize penalties into a new game.
No, because he's not benefiting. I mean, like
especially
I said,
when he scooped. If he won,
exactly, yeah.
If he won the game and had drawn an extra card, which arguably could have won him the game, then maybe. But he's took the loss.
Yeah,
he should have probably waited but not scooped and got the prize penalty and then gone into the new game fresh.
I think it was brought to their attention after, because then I think some of the head judges even got their phones out and were watching replays from the stream.
Just unfair, really. That's just unfair.
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree completely.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to do that in a match that's not on stream.
It's a completely different board.
Would they have still come to that conclusion and carried the prize penalty over if they were just on the table?
Yeah, well, exactly. I wonder if it was because it was on stream they had to make a point. You never know. But I think the thing is, I think Noah after that then scooped game 2 because he didn't think he was going to get the win, with the 2 prize penalty, at the start. So commiserations obviously for Noah. I think it was his first time on stream as well, and obviously we've been in the competitive fields beforehand. We know how stressful it is, but it being on stream to millions of people, and also you've got the headphones on. Apparently the headphones play white noise the whole time as well. So it must be really difficult. There's people obviously, you've got your Azuls, your Andrew Mahones, you've got the people who know are well experienced in that and versed, but then they don't make it easy for the new players who are kind of coming through. I dread, it sounds nice going on stream. I'm going to be on stream and this is my time to shine. I'd dread it because I'd actually probably go, I'm going to duck out this game. Yeah, that's personally me. But it was a bit rough actually. So obviously commiserations for Noah. But then there was a bit more controversy in the actual final itself. So it was there was 2 elements which were quite interesting. So the first one is in the second game, I believe. Aiden basically was sitting his deck looking for energy basically, and I think he eventually got it, but then he ultra balled away two cards, and then got the Glaring Wheezing, and then evolved it straight away. But he'd only put that Glaring Wheezing, coughing, down initially. Now they had to look back and everything, and I think they moved on. They had to go back to the old board state because he in his mind he said, "Well, I'm actually playing Ascension. That was a failed Ultra Ball. I'm playing Ascension." However, apparently he didn't actually state that, and obviously they then had to make him. They then had to make him get the Galarian Wheezing, but then put it in his hand and then carry on. So it was that was quite interesting, and again, it just shows how important it is to be thinking straight. I know it's easier said than done because I've made some fuck ups in the past, especially in the competitive scene. And it's not easy because sometimes you get so ahead of it and you're thinking not about this turn, you're thinking about next turn and the turn after. It's hard to get it lost in the moment. but then also just to actually clearly state what you're doing, which is why I think when the guys will see, everyone will see when we put out our gameplay tabletops, I always say attach for turn, do this for turn, do this for turn. Because I'm trying in my head to methodically talk it out, but it's annoying. Think for turn.
It is funny when
breathe for
you
turn.
attach a choice felt for turn, and
For
I'm
turn,
like, you
for
can
turn,
do that
everything for turn.
as many times as you want.
But then there was another bit of controversy right at the end. So in the last game, I think it was game 2 in the end. Oh no, was it game 3? Did it go to 1-1 at one point? I actually can't remember. That's awful. Yeah, so sorry. It was game 3. And Temple of Sinnoh was in play, and basically, from my understanding, Charlie attached 2 twin energies and I think gift energy to Gigas, and then attacked and took the knockout, took the prize, and then they carried on. But then the judge realised actually Temple of Sinnoh was in play, so the twin energy shouldn't have worked, and he had to reverse it back. And it was really tough because obviously I mentioned that Charlie had a prize 3 Path to the Peaks, and he'd already got rid of 1 in the early game. He had just no way of bumping that stadium, therefore taking the getting rid of it, taking the win, taking the advantage. So unfortunately he did lose that game in the end. But it just goes to show that the judges are there. They are watching, obviously. They're there to help us as well. But again, as we said beforehand, I think that was really difficult. And then
I think part of the problem is, like, yes, you've got to keep up a certain speed of play because you're on a timer and you've got to get through and finish these games. But if he'd have just took that extra few seconds to firstly check the board state and see the Temple of Sinnoh, and then second, if he'd have just took a couple of extra seconds before taking that prize card, I think the problem was he took the prize card immediately.
Yeah.
Looked at it, put it in his hand, and then you can't fix that. You can't not know that's that prize card.
That's muscle memory, though, I think, kicking in there. When he's took the knockout,
well, exactly. I think you need to be a bit more conscious. Like, just triple check.
But then you get a warning for slow play.
Yeah, it is difficult. It is.
Well,
it
a
is
warning
really difficult.
would have been better than a 2 prize penalty and losing the
And
regional.
Charlie's quite experienced as well. If you look, he obviously came second in the Charlotte, came top 50 in Knoxville, top 120 in Toronto, top 15 in Salt Lake City, top 10 in New Jersey. He's an experienced player, and then also he's been playing back since 2016. So an experienced player just goes to show that even the most experienced of players, that it can happen. I'm sure we all watched. Was it a couple of months ago? Was it early this year or late last year? Andrew Mahone, Tricky Jim, he had a prize penalty because he took an extra card by mistake, and that's his job. His job is obviously doing the content, playing the game, and then obviously going to the regionals and being a competitive player. That's his game. So God, we're screwed, aren't we? If the professionals will do it, we're screwed. But obviously, like I said, the judges are there to help, etc. However, I think
they do most of the time.
Yeah, we would be. I think we would be doing a disservice to the community as general if we didn't discuss this, or not just maybe discuss it, but obviously mention that there was quite a lot of controversy surrounding a particular match. So the match was between Makani Tran and Alex Szymanski. It was, I think, Swiss round 6. I think both of them were 5-0. It was on a stream. And from what I believe, the game went ahead. Game 1 went fine, and then during game 2, one of the judges took Makani to the side and basically disqualified him.
It wasn't even, because we watched it back, and it was 0-0, and then all of a sudden it's like game over. And so
did the game not finish? The first game not finished? No.
I don't think so.
The game had finished, yeah. The game had finished and they were shuffling up. And then you can see the judge who sat at the back saying, like, just hold on a minute, like, just wait. And then normally on the stream you'll watch them shuffle up and the casters will be in the corner, like, and talking over it, but it cuts back to them full screen. And bless them again, Boo and Wancho having to fill some time talking about game one. It's very much in depth.
Yeah, no, it's
yeah, and then it was
that was it.
Like the next round.
That was it. Yeah. So from this is again, we don't know what happened. We obviously weren't there. The only people who know what happened are the judges, Makani, and also Alex as well. You know, they're the only people who really truly know. But from our understanding, Makani has basically stated that quite nervous to go on stream. Judge approached both himself and Alex and asked what his preferred pronouns were. Bit nervous. I think he laughed and said he/him, and then went off and carried on went on to the game board and carried on, set up and played, etc. Apparently the head judge then brought Makani over to the side after game one and basically said that one of the judges had complained about him being disrespectful, and their all inclusion policy meant that the Pokemon's all inclusion policy basically meant that he had to disqualify Makani there and then. Now, there's been an outpouring on the community, a lot of support for Makani. I think Alex Szymanski has come out as well and dispelled some rumors, because there was rumors and there was a lot of rumors going around.
But it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. So Alex has come out and said that there's lots of people jumping on the back of this as well, trying to make clickbait and money and clout almost, which I think is awful. And there's also I think he paid thousands of pounds to travel there. He took a week off from school to get there, and then obviously this is his experience. So obviously our thoughts are with him. Again, we're not judging on any side, because we don't know. At the end of the day, we'll only report what we know. We don't know the full facts. We're only hearing off hearsay. But there seems to be a large outpouring of support from the community. I believe there's a GoFundMe for recouping Makani's costs, and I think it's already hit a couple thousand. So again, if anyone does feel that they want to support Makani as well, we'll obviously try and find that link and link that into the description of the episode as well. But we just thought it's such a hot topic in the community. It was quite a big thing in the community, and it still is. So we had to mention it again. Like I said, we're not judging the judge or Makani. We're not judging. But we need to see some kind of response from Pokemon, I think, more than anything, because unfortunately this isn't the first instance.
Their policy is not to respond.
It's
I'm not sure how
it's
I feel
a
about
tough one.
It is a tough one
for both sides, really. And a lot of the
go on, sorry, Alex. Yeah,
I was going to say a lot of the I don't want to say a lot of the community, but a lot of people use these things as an excuse to then start being really offensive, and I think that's definitely the wrong way to.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Then all of a sudden starts a witch hunt. So I know for a fact that people on Twitter have now started trying to find out who this judge is, and obviously we don't condone any of that, because two wrongs don't make a right in any sense. So to do that, we understand, obviously, fighting for a cause, and it is disgusting. But that's down to Pokemon now. They have to make amends, even if they don't do it publicly. They have to do something, because this isn't the first instance we've heard of judges being, I'm going to say kind of
biased.
It's biased almost, or I was going to say very harsh in the decisions, because we've seen
power.
Abusing power, that's it, spot on. Because we share, obviously, after every regional, we all log on Twitter, and fortunately, those are the things that pop up the most, rather than the congratulating the winner or it being a positive experience. These are the things that actually stick out like a sore thumb. So it I think Pokemon, their policy is stick their head in the sand and wait for it all to blow over. But I do think they need to do something, because I don't think this is going to blow over. And I think obviously going forward, it seems like every regional we have some sense of controversy or cheating. So
it's not just that's the way it was handled. Like McCartney's still a minor.
Yeah.
And they basically just kicked him out of the venue. He had no mobile phone reception or anything. Like, I'd have been crapping myself.
Yeah.
At the age I am now, if that happened to me.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Same. So we'll keep an eye on this, and I don't think it's going to blow over this. So obviously in future episodes we will keep discussing it. But we also, I think it's actually, because I think judges do get a bad rep, like Andy said, for potentially abusing power. Now we actually play, and we know a judge who goes to regionals in Europe to judge on behalf of Pokemon, and also judged at the World Championships last year. We actually spoken to him, and he's agreed to come on the podcast. So post EUIC, we're going to have a guest on, and it's going to be a judge who acts on behalf of Pokemon to hear not his side, but hear how he finds the experience, the process, what he finds from, because I can imagine judges also get a lot of abuse from players as well. So there's always two sides to the story as well. So it'd be definitely interesting to hear from that side.
I think I've said this before, 99.9% of the time they get it right.
Yeah.
But it's the 0.1 or 1%.
Yeah, that hits the news.
That they just really get it wrong in a really bad way.
Spectacularly wrong.
Yeah. But that's it. Like I said beforehand, it's when you go to, say, if you go to a restaurant, you never look for the reviews that say how amazing it is. You always look for the bad reviews, because the bad reviews stick out. You can have 100 positive reviews, but that one bad review.
Yeah, I got food poisoning.
You'll base your entire opinion on that one rather than the 100 else. And that's the same thing. You can have 100 posts saying how good it was, but that one thing will gain traction and it will always take over. So we'll obviously keep monitoring it. We'll keep obviously speaking about it. And that's something to look forward to for post EUIC. Once we discuss obviously our experience at EUIC, I will also be getting one of our someone in as a guest, a judge, to discuss with us his side as well. So look forward to that, guys. So moving on then, away from controversy, there's only a little bit of news this week, just in relation to obviously what we spoke about last week. So obviously, Snow Hazard and Clay Burst has been announced now for Japan, and obviously we ran through some of the cards last week. One of the cards which is quite interesting is Glimora. So I think Alex is sharing that now. So Glimora, again, Glimora is, well, was it the ace in the sleeve for the champion, which actually wasn't that powerful. When you think of like ace in the sleeves for the champion in the games, you think of like Garchomp for Cynthia, something like that. And this was just a pushover, to be honest, just like that whole fight, in my opinion. But it's so Glimmer and Glimora. Glimora is a stage 1 Pokemon, fighting type. It's got an ability, Crystal Break. When this Pokemon is knocked out, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent can't take any prize cards for it. And then I think for 1 fighting energy, Floral Spite, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. During Pokemon checkup, put 6 damage cards instead of 1. Again,
it's an interesting Galarian, kind of like Galarian Weezing, isn't it?
Yeah, with the damage counters.
You get Ascension, don't you, on Glimmer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the Crystal Break, what do you think of that? Do you think it's a gimmick, or do you reckon it's going to see any play?
Is that what's that that stadium that you can flip another heads?
Glenwood Tangle, but it's rotated. Glenwood Tangle. I came against that on a Radiant Jirachi.
Radiant Jirachi, yeah.
I
think it's Radiant Jirachi. He did it 4 times in a row, and I was like, just kept knocking my Pokemon out.
I would play that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it'll see.
Well, it's just like Galarian Weezing, of course you'd play.
I think it's I'm not gonna say mean deck, but
No,
it feels like it could be part of a. No, not Galarian Weezing. I'm talking about the.
No, this is just like it, really.
Glimora.
But then if you use that with
Jinx,
Radiant Sneasler,
I know.
you put in 8 damage counters on.
Is that every checkup or just the first checkup?
Checkup.
Is it 6? Is it 6? Is it 6 damage?
2 for Radiant Sneasler,
and then 2 for okay. It could be good. It could be good. We need a good fighting deck out there. I don't think there's.
And I take a 50-50 chance that you don't take a prize card. That's all right.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. But 50-50 chance.
It's also funny that they've put poison on a fighting Pokemon.
It's because it's rock poison, and the rock is fighting in TCG. So
just normally you see it on Dark or Psychic, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been psychic, and it could have been a fighting, but it is weird that it's a fighting because it's a rock. Really, it's poison.
But the next one might be.
Yeah, the next Glimora might be psychic.
It's in the game.
Huh?
Oh yeah, it does because its ability is like toxic spikes, isn't it?
It is like toxic spikes, yeah.
Yeah.
So that could see some play. That'd be interesting. It'd be annoying during pre-release. We know that for a fact. And then they've also announced another line for the Charcadet. So obviously we had the Armarouge in base set Scarlet and Violet, which did quite well. This time we're treated to Ceruledge. So Ceruledge is another stage 1 Pokemon, psychic, HP 140. 2 colorless, life sucker, 50 damage, heal 30 from this Pokemon, and then for 1 psychic and 2 colorless, fighting sword, 100 damage. But if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX or Pokemon V, this attack does 100 more damage, so it does essentially 200 damage for 3 cut. It's not gonna ever knock out a V or an EX though from like a fresh though, is it? Because you think the basic.
It will knock out EXs. I've seen.
Oh, saying that, Dedenne is an EX, isn't it? And that's 160.
That's like 140 or something.
It's 160.
It will be all right once. I mean, by the time that V's are actually pushed out, probably be better cards really. But it will.
Minion.
A lot of stage 1 EXs it'll knock out. Yeah.
The Minion's only 190, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
not
true.
Sorry, it's basic EX.
That's basic, yeah. But realistically, I think it should be doing a bit more. It'd be just to make it a bit more competitive, a bit more, because most V's and basic EX are like about 200 to 210.
I think that's pretty balanced. I think it's decent.
Because it's a stage 1, which makes it. Stage 2s usually get the decent attacks. I think it's on par for a stage 1. Do you think?
Yeah.
40 HP for stage 1.
The energy cost as well, 3 energy.
Yeah.
So if you want,
well, that's a double turbo and a psychic.
Double turbos.
So then that's 180. So you're not knocking out as much then. But obviously you've Gardevoir. That's what I was about to say. Yeah, paired with Gardevoir could be good. But again, that's its HP goes down.
But you've got the Shining Arcana Gardevoir. It's like it does like up to like 400 damage. Or whatever.
Yeah, but then if you've Gardevoir to it, and then you do a life sucker, and then a fighting sword, you knocked out everything and recovered your HP.
It's a lot of turns though to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I love Ceruledge. I had played it was in my party through all my playthrough. I do love Ceruledge, so I will be getting that. So again, be good potentially in pre-release. So again, all pre-released out, but yeah, it'd be good. And Gym Leader Challenge as well, but then you won't really come.
You don't have the
X's. And then the final set of cards. Obviously, last week we spoke about some of the EX coming out, but we've now had confirmation of another EX coming out, and then some more Pokemon and trainers and stadiums. So Wo-Chien EX. We obviously saw the other 3 last week, but this time we actually finally have Wo-Chien EX. So it's a basic Pokemon with 230 HP. 2 grass, energy, and colorless. Devouring Ivy. This attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each prize card your opponent has taken. Don't apply weakness and resistance for bench Pokemon. So that'd be quite good, wouldn't it?
Wait, did we speak about this last week?
No.
No, I don't think we talked about this one last week. We talked about the...
What else? 60 damage? Oh, yeah.
Bottlehead moves.
Yeah. There's something else that does 60 damage per times whatever.
Is there Aura?
No, it was one of these ruin Pokemon.
Was it? I can't remember which one it was now. I'm gonna have to look. I'm sure it was the water one, the saber-tooth tiger one. I can't remember his name as well. That's awful, isn't it? I gotta remember his name. But yeah, I mean, what do you think of Wo Chien? I think it's pretty cool. I think imagine late game sticking that down. You know,
the Charizard.
Five. I suppose it's energy getting energy onto it. But if you could put that late game, you've got one prize. Your opponent's got one prize left remaining. That does 300 damage.
Yeah. I think what we found, it's similar with, say, Regidrago V, is accelerating grass energy is not super efficient at the moment. Yeah, it's not.
You've got Gardenia's Vigor, but again, it's a risk.
Cost? Is it three
energy? Yeah, two grass and one colourless.
Yeah.
I
think the real.
Arceus can power that up.
Yeah,
true. I really like the Spiritomb.
I was going to say the next one really is I'd like to talk about is the Spiritomb because it's just like
goodbye Mew, basically.
Mew, yeah. How much more can they mess Mew up? They literally print cards off just to screw Mew over.
Yeah.
So Spiritomb is a basic Pokemon with the ability Pitch Black Doom. As long as this Pokemon is in play, not even inactive, just in play. Basic Pokemon V have no abilities, both yours and your opponents. So say goodbye to all your
basic V abilities.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. My mind's gone back.
Luminion.
What's the Genesect? That's it. Genesect. Yeah.
This would be good in Oincologne, I think.
Yeah.
Still be.
This will be shut everything off, really. Yeah.
And this will be in.
But you need to be careful. You don't switch your own abilities off, though.
Well, this does, unfortunately.
I know, that's what I mean. So you need to find a deck that doesn't run abilities.
Well, that's it, yes. Like Oincologne would be quite good. It doesn't really use
Guardi EX, like, there's plenty of... Unless they're using the Zacian V, but yeah, there's plenty of... And also, it's attack. Put this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your hand. I guess once you're finished with turning off their abilities, just get it back, I guess. Switch it out for something else.
It's only got 60 HP to be fair.
Only one price, I suppose.
And then I think you've obviously got the Murkrow, which nothing massively to write home about. I mean, it does okay. I think it's 20 damage for the amount of Pokemon in your discard. The Flamigo, again, beautiful art rare. So that's obviously the art rares continue. But then it's stunning, isn't it? But then we do, if you go down, we've also got so a new trainer and 2 new stadiums. So this is going to be a nightmare to pronounce. Giacomo?
Yeah.
Giacomo, yeah.
A supporter, discard a special energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. That's purely built for Lugia in mind. Poor Lugia.
Yeah, where was this when Lugia
I know, yeah.
Where was this during Liverpool? And the Sword and Shield, era. That's just gonna hurt, isn't it? It's just gonna bloody hurt. I'm dreading it already. And then we've got 2 stadiums, so some more stadiums, which is pretty cool. So Snow Mountain of Disaster. I'm sure it'll probably have a bit of a better name when it comes out in English, but that's obviously what the translation is. So whenever any player attaches an energy card from their hand to one of their basic and non-water Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So that just sounds like Old Cemetery for water. Yeah.
That might be good to counter Gardevoir EX, because like if you're putting a load of damage counters in your own Pokemon, and then I guess I guess you're accelerating. You're not really attaching it, but maybe it just you're not going to attach to knock out your own Pokemon, I suppose. But
no, Yeah.
Zorok V could be good.
Yeah, I suppose you could play that, couldn't you? Because then you're always attaching energy in your side. It's never going to be water Pokemon, so you may as well take the damage.
Yeah.
And you guarantee damage there then. So yeah, that's quite interesting. And then the next stadium is Wilderness of Disaster. The retreat cost of each basic Pokemon except for fighting Pokemon is 1 colorless energy more. So it's basically opposite of Beach Court. Beach Court and Wilderness of Disaster, the complete opposites. Again, fighting Pokemon. I want there to be a good fighting deck out there. I'm gonna get some Miraidons and keep them just in case.
No? Rapid Strike Urshifu.
I think Rapid Strike Urshifu, the Rapid Strike engines used. I think it's used more for energy acceleration than actually the attack of Urshifu, to be honest. Single strike Urshifu maybe, but I think again, most people are moving more towards the Tyranitar and the Umbreon. So poor Urshifu's been left behind.
Dark is weak to fighting in this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it not
Dark
grass?
is also weak to grass.
Yeah,
I was going to say grass. Most of them.
Why is it weak to grass?
I don't know.
Weak to something. Grass has got to be super effective against something.
So Crobat's weak to grass. Crobat V was weak to grass. He's flying.
I guess it sometimes it depends on the Pokemon, because you have a Mimikyu is weak to steel, isn't he? Because he's fairy, really, and then like Onyx is weak to grass, but he's fighting, and I think it depends on the Pokemon.
Fighting rock, though, isn't he?
No, but he's because he's a fighting type in TCG, because he don't have rock, is what I mean. Like, I think the weakness goes by the actual Pokemon type in the games rather than the energy type.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good to see some new stadiums out there. Nothing massively busted or broken at the moment. Seem relatively safe. Again, you look at Mesagoza, relatively good cards. On the flip of a coin, you've got Beach Court. Nothing's nothing like Path to the Peak yet. So, but we'll get there. We'll get there definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So again, some more new cards coming out. Again, I think this will be part of our. Some elements of it will be part of our Paldea Evolved set, which comes out in June. So yeah, really looking forward to that. But yeah, by the time this episode releases, we'll be opening Scarlet and Violet base set. The Scarlet and Violet base set will be released. I feel like I've opened a lot of it because I've done so many pre-release events and openings. But I'm actually really excited to get my hands on a booster box and open it. I think I've got a couple coming. I think you've got a couple coming, Andy, and got some ETBs and got lots of products coming. So again, we're going to have loads of videos coming out in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, discussing our pulls, showing our pulls, what are the pull rates. We'll also be discussing obviously our decks that we're using and decks that we can make and want to try. And then obviously we'll be building up to EUIC, and there may be a special guest coming on before EUIC, which we'll obviously announce on all our social media channels. So on that note, I'm going to move over to our next segment, RTFC. So the card we're going to discuss this week for RTFC actually relates back to one of our videos that we released today. Today when you're not watching this. So today when we're recording it, today is the day of recording. And basically it's a new card from the Scarlet and Violet set, and one that featured quite prominently in pre-release. And it involved my good friend Andy and a misplay, which was caught by our esteemed judge Kath. So Vivillon is the card, and Andy, could you please let me know what the attack is?
So I'm just going to say, Kath wasn't even in the room when she picked this up. So Vivillon does for one grass energy, it does Miracle Powder for 50 damage, but the effect of the attack is you flip a coin. If heads, choose a special condition: paralyze, poison, sleep, or burn. I know.
Yeah.
And then your opponent's active Pokemon is now affected by that special condition.
Exactly.
Obviously,
So,
I did not RTFC. I announced the attack and said to Jamie, "You are poisoned."
I got knocked out.
I think I would have knocked your Pokemon out, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Well, it knocked out because I moved it into the discard. I already drew. You'd already taken a prize, I think, at that point.
And then out of nowhere, from another room, Kath goes, "Did you roll the dice?"
It's the same as the Venomoth.
Let me just read that, Cat. And no, I didn't roll the dice.
And then when you did roll the dice, it was
Tails.
Yeah, so I survived.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, but no, thanks for that, Andy. Again, it's quite funny, isn't it? We obviously we play Pokemon cards. We talk about Pokemon cards non-stop. We play Pokemon cards, but sometimes it's just
we don't read them.
You just don't read them.
We look at the pretty pictures.
That's what the pretty picture's there for, right? That's what the picture's there for. Okay, well, thank you for that, Andy. Thank you for that, Kath, especially because I think I won for that. But yeah, no, and I want to thank you, everyone, for watching. And obviously, I'm going to keep plugging that video. Go and have a watch that video. Let us know what you think of.
Let us know how badly we did.
And that as well. But I think that is the end of that's the end of it now. The end of the episode this week now. I think we've covered obviously quite a few topics. We've got plenty more to talk about. By the time this goes out, like I said, Scarlet and Violet will be fully released then. So happy Scarlet and Violet release day. I hope everyone's pulls are great, and obviously you get everything you want. And if anyone's selling any Gardevoir EXs out there, send them my way. And yeah, I think obviously we'll be back next week to discuss the release of Scarlet and Violet, a whole new format, and then obviously discuss what getting ready for EUIC and what we think. Obviously, I think we're going to discuss top buys from Scarlet and Violet and our deck set review. I think Alex wants to do that, so we'll be doing that. But again, guys, just want to thank you, each and every one of you, for watching, listening, commenting, liking, subscribing. The best way to always catch all of our content is on YouTube. So if you go on YouTube, we're at Training Court TCG. We also have all our social media. So we're on Facebook. No, we're not. Why did I leave Facebook?
We're not on Facebook.
So we're not the one we're not on is Facebook. So we're on. Let's edit that there. We're also on Twitter. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Training Court. We're also on Instagram, which is at Training Court TCG. You can listen to our podcast each and every week, releasing on a Friday. We can listen to that on Spotify. You can listen to it on YouTube, obviously. You can listen to it on Apple iTunes. And you can also listen to it on actually Podbean, which is thetrainingcourt.podbean.com. Again, just want to say big thank you to our sponsor of the episode, Pokedex For You. We've mentioned quite a few times, but if you go ahead and go on PokedexForYou.com and use the code Training Court TCG, you get 5% off your order, and that's all going to be there for all meme and meta decks, all leading up to EUIC. So I definitely recommend checking them out. Once again, thank you, each and every one of you, and I also want to thank Andy, Kath, and Alex for joining me again this week, and we'll catch you all next week. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.